welcome to Georgia and Atlanta in particular. The reason being, the Ferrari Challenge rolls into town for a fantastic weekend of racing to be held at this Road Atlanta circuit. First started racing back in 1970, and the track has been something of a legend, and it is a very difficult track to master, but our Ferrari Challenge drivers have taken to it, as you can imagine, with enthusiasm and gusto, and have tried to master the 2.54 miles of tarmac that goes uphill and down dale through the countryside and provides some awesome racing for Ferrari Challenge, this brilliant one-make series in North America. And the cars are on their way to the grid for Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Race 2 of the weekend. We have just had an absolutely awesome Trofeo Pirelli race. We're expecting a very good race from Coppa Shell as well. We have two classes racing in the race. We have the Shell drivers with the yellow sun strip across the top of the windscreen, and the AM drivers with a black strip across the top of the windscreen. We've been to Miami, to Texas. Here we are in Road Atlanta, with Montreal to come, and then Sonoma and Road America, and the World Finals Finale Mondiale to come in Mugello at the end of October. Please follow us on @Ferrari Races. We would love you to do that. So this is precisely where we are in the great USA, and there you can see where Road Atlanta is situated, and it is an awesome track to enjoy, that's for sure. It's provided some brilliant entertainment for us as race fans across its 12 turns. 5 of them are left and 7 of them are right-handers. The sequence between turns 2 to 5, the S's, and then that wonderful drop as you come downhill through turns 11 and 12 to the start-finish straight are two of the features of the circuit that I have to say are favourites of mine. But it is a track that the drivers really like, and when they master it, they like it even more. There's no question about that. Now, the weather conditions are somewhat different to the forecast that we were looking at midweek. The air temperature is 25 degrees, the track temperature is 29 degrees. It's perfect for racing. The sun is shining beautifully. That is, of course, if you're not inside the 488 Challenge Evo cars, which I suspect come the end of the 30-minute Coppa Shell race, it will be quite hot. That's for sure. And now I was saying about how you get the best out of this 12-turn track. Well, someone that can give us his ideas on how to get the max out of it is Trofeo Pirelli race winner Matt Krzyzewski. He gives us a hot lap.
Hi, I'm Matt Krzyzewski, driver of the number 21 Ferrari Challenge 488 Evo for Scuderia Corse and Ferrari of Beverly Hills. And I'm going to take you for a lap around Road Atlanta. Crossing the start-finish line, going into turn 1, high-speed, rolling speed corner. Downshift to 4th gear, carry as much rolling speed as possible. Up the hill, into 2 and 3, where we have a quick brake, hard right. Back to the accelerator as quickly as possible to carry as much speed into the S's, a very fast and free-flowing part of the track where you can either make up or lose a lot of speed. Turn 5, carefully drive over the exit curve down the straightaway to turn 6, where you'll have a hard braking zone with a quick brake release for a short drive to turn 7. Exiting turn 7, get the wheel open as quickly as possible, drive to the exit curb, and take the very long straightaway to turns 12A and B. At the end of this straightaway, we'll carry roughly nearly 170 miles an hour into turn 12A. Braking point, the 300 board. Very hard brake, quick release, and carry as much rolling speed from 12A to 12B, or you'll drive up and over the hill, under the bridge, applying to drive down into the final corner of 12, back to the start-finish line. And that is the lap at Road Atlanta.
No one has done it better than Matt Krzyzewski, that's for sure. He's taken 2 wins out of 2 starts here on this circuit, so he knows how to get the best out of the Road Atlanta circuit, that's for sure. And the drivers standing by, our Coppa Shell drivers then, to get out there for their race. Cameron Root it was that put it in pole position for the Coppa Shell drivers. For the Shell&AM drivers, Roger Monteforte, who has put it P1, having been chased by Bruce Cleveland and Lisa Clark. And Cameron Root didn't have it all his own way either, because David Veronin and Cyril Choksi also pushing very hard, as indeed was Jan Bernier. You can just see right in the middle of the picture the green and white car of Cameron Root making its way into its P1 grid position right now. The Richard Mule safety car, of course, will lead the cars away on their formation lap, and it will be, as always in the Ferrari Challenge, a rolling start to get the race underway. So yesterday, Cameron Root then very much enjoying the race, but taking P2. The win eluded because it was David Veronin who celebrated his first victory, taking the win yesterday for Foreign Cars Italia. And it's David Veronin that we are on board with right now, and this is the bird's eye view from inside the 488 Challenge Evo car of what it's like to be P2 on the grid, because he's to the outside, of course, of Cameron Root, who sealed that P1 position in qualifying earlier on today. And the qualifying is very short and sharp for all of our drivers in the Ferrari Challenge. They get but 15 minutes to set the fastest lap time they possibly can to give them the best position on the grid that they can possibly achieve. So love this drone shot of all our cars lining up there in that assembly area, ready to go racing in the when they are out of the pit lane and onto the track proper. And of course the race under the as they come under the bridge and then into turn number 12, the sense of eager anticipation waiting for the green flag, which will fly and allow our cars to be racing. Not so far away from that happening, and when the cars are heading off towards the start of the race, we'll bring you the grid in full of who is doing what and from where. And just looking at the cars from this wonderful drone shot, you can see just the wonderful mix of liveries there are across these 488 Challenge Evo cars, looking resplendent in the sunshine, and extraordinarily potent and powerful machines they are as well. The 488 has been a fantastically successful car, as all the predictions are that the 296, which is the next evolution, will be as well. And in fairness, we should shout out to the Ferrari 296, which won the Nürburgring 24-hour race this weekend, with, I kid you not, something like 235,000 people to enjoy that spectacle. An extraordinary event, and extraordinarily successful for Ferrari. Now, a number of our North American drivers ahead of Montreal will be heading to Le Mans, because it's a very big year for Ferrari at Le Mans. Of course, returning to the very top class of Le Mans racing with the hypercar. And the Ferrari Challenge is forming part of the support for the 24-hour race, and there will be a huge number of Ferrari Challenge cars on the grid for the support race. And they will come not only from North America, but also from our Ferrari Challenge in Europe, our Ferrari Challenge in the UK, and also from our Ferrari Challenge in Japan as well. Those are the four geographic regions we have in Ferrari Challenge. Very, very strong here, of course, in North America, and a number of our North American drivers then taking to that Circuit de la Sarthe for what will be a very, very big weekend, we hope, for Ferrari. With the 24-hour of Le Mans. Meantime, we've got a 30-minute race to think of here at Road Atlanta for our Ferrari Challenge North America Shell drivers and Shell&AM drivers, who you can see down there ready to do the business. The Richard Mills safety car will lead the cars away, and we will be ready to go racing. Local time, mid-afternoon here in the sunshine in Atlanta, and very nice it is too. So the grid now, the non-necessary personnel are beginning to leave that grid, so we're not far away from the cars heading out towards the end of the pit lane. Just looking at the Cyril Choksi car here, the 173. Now, Cyril won the very first race of our season this year, taking victory at Homestead, Miami in race 1 there. He followed that up with a podium P3. And there is our pole sitter for today for Ron Tonkin Gran Turismo. It is Cameron Root, And Cameron Root, also a race winner in Homestead, Miami, having taken victory in the second race at Homestead, Miami. So there we are. And we can see the 112 car there, the yellow car that was just to the right of the picture of Mike Lully, who is one of the longest serving Ferrari Challenge drivers there. You can see the 127 car, the orange and blue car of Lisa Clark, car number 127. Lisa doing a very good job in qualifying today, qualifying P3 for Ferrari Beverly Hills. The beautiful pink car of Jerry Walters that you can see, and as I was saying about the fact that these cars look absolutely beautiful when they are lined up. They look even better when they are racing. And right on cue, I think the Richard Mills safety car is about to lead those cars away. Look at that. You think I make this up, you know. And the cars are heading down the pit lane right now, and we will be bringing you the grid in full in just a moment. So all the cars making their way down the pit lane and heading up the hill, and we are about ready to go. Ferrari Challenge Racing. As promised then, the grid to you in full right now, so you can see who is lining up where for race 2 of the weekend for our Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell drivers making their way up the hill at Road Atlanta right now. Here it is then, and going from pole position it is Cameron Root. It was David Veronin that goes from P2, yesterday's race winner of course. So then we find Cyril Joxy and Jan Bernier going from P3 and P4. Both of those could be danger men from the second row of the grid. Then it is Frank Szczesniak and Matt Dalton, who are P5 and P6. It's Tor Haugen and Eric Marston going from P7 and P8, the fourth row of our Coppa Shell grid, ahead of Michael Lully and Ray Acosta. They go from P9 and P10. To the sixth row of the grid, we find Robert McWilliams, and then the best of our Coppa Shell&AM drivers, Roger Monteforte, going from P12. Then it's Bruce Cleveland and Lisa Clark from the seventh row of the grid, P13 and 14 respectively. It's Dana Goodwin and Steve Check, P15 and P16. And then to the ninth row of the grid, where we find Jerry Walters and Jeffrey Nunberg then, P17 and P18 for those two drivers. It's Neil Langberg and Lance Corley. And Lance Corley a long way back from where he would like to be, P19 and P20. Then it's David Williams and Darren Bernstein, P21 and P22. Bear in mind, Lance Corley won in class yesterday, and Louis Perescoia going from P23 for Ferrari of Central New Jersey. That is your grid in full. The cars then on their formation lap. The Richard Mills safety car will peel off into the pit lane. It will be the responsibility of the front row. That's Cameron Root and David Veronin to control the pace of the rolling start. You can see Cameron Root vigorously weaving from side to side, trying to drive some temperature into those Pirelli tyres. And we are just moments away then from this race getting underway. You can see the Richard Mills safety car there leading the cars away. Just a couple of turns or so to do before they will head under the bridge and then face the final two turns on lap of this Road Atlanta circuit and go racing. What a sight that is to behold. All these fantastic Ferrari Challenge cars ready to go racing. So as the Richard Mills safety car picks up speed and gets ready to indicate right and go into the pit lane. Stand by, Cameron Root, David Veronin then controlling this start. The cars have to go side by side in grid formation, and when the green flag flies, then you can put your foot to the floor and go racing. Cameron Root converting that pole position into the race lead absolutely immediately. He was determined to make that work, and he did, ahead of David Veronin and Cyril Joxy. And Jan Bernier already under threat potentially from Frank Szczesniak as they climb up the hill right now. So everyone jostling for positions right at the start of the race. Delighted to say that Shay Adam has managed to find her way up into our studio here. Apologies that we didn't hear from you down on the grid. Did you stand on the microphone?
Yes, I did. I actually unplugged it, Dave. I wanted to hear your tones a little bit more. So, no, it was a good atmosphere down on the grid. A very short turnaround, not a lot of time for the drivers to baste gently in their cars. So they should be fired up and ready to go for the start of the race. Cameron Root most certainly was. Yesterday we saw him dancing before the race. He was listed listening to a playlist from 1997, getting in the right mindset, and
Okay.
it worked for him yesterday, but almost worked for him yesterday. Worked for him to get back to the podium and then maintain the championship lead, but now he's showing us exactly what would have happened in yesterday's race if we hadn't ended under yellow.
Absolutely. Perhaps his playlist was from 79 today, because it's given him a little bit of extra boost, hasn't it? He's already built quite a margin from this man that we ride on board with now, David Veronin, who of course was victorious yesterday, currently playing second fiddle, if I'm honest with you, because he is P2, and Cameron Root with extraordinary pace. We've already seen that, and we saw that in qualifying. He was able to, I mean, there was a battle between these two during the qualifying, but Cameron Root was able to best in the end, and both of them, if I'm honest with you, have broken away a bit from Surreal Choxy, who's running P3.
More orchestral analogies from youth, playing second fiddle. I like that. Slipped it in there, just very nicely done, as Cameron Root leads once again, and he knows that building a gap doesn't necessarily mean anything in this series, because he had a gap yesterday.
Sure.
Veronin still reeled him in.
Lisa Clark is doing well as well. She has just got up into P2, having got past Bruce Cleveland, so well done to Lisa Clark, and she is P2 right now.
And there will be a bit of confusion, because Robert McWilliams in car number 123 is driving the spare car, the T car for Bruce Cleveland, car number 158. The exact same liveries on both of those cars, running just behind Lisa Clark on the racetrack. Only one is for position, but you can play a little bit of which one am I now? You can do the twin switch up, the parent trap, in effect, if you will.
Like I need any help being in a muddle. The cars are absolutely identical, as you say. So there we are. Root from Veronin from Choxy then, and it is Monteforte, Clark and Cleveland in the AMs. And here you can see Lisa Clark has got to find about a second to get on terms with Roger Monteforte, the Ferrari of Central New Jersey driver, and a Ferrari Beverly Hills driver, closing in on the back end a little bit of Roger Monteforte.
Lisa Clark, championship leader coming into this weekend and maintaining it through yesterday's race, knows very well that she is battling against someone who is not in the championship battle yet, but Lisa also knows that she hasn't won a race since Homestead Miami Speedway, and she would very much like to take home the Top Step trophy. The Ladies' Cup, which she did win yesterday, is a beautiful trophy in and of itself, but it's not quite as nice as that first place, as Robert McWilliams does the charitable thing and moves over for the man who lent him his spare car.
Kind of got to do that, haven't you? Got to do that, really. Yeah. Lisa Clark, who's getting a lot of seat time at the moment. She was racing in the European series of the Ferrari Challenge just last weekend as well, and jetted back here to the States from Austria, because we were racing in Spielberg, and it is the 127 car that we pick up on right now that is currently P2 in the Coppa Shell&AM race that we are watching now. And Roger Monteforte has responded a little bit by opening up a little bit more of a gap.
From Austin to Austria to Atlanta. She's got a theme going on right now, does Lisa Clark. And the next track will be Lessart. I heard you talking about Le Mans, that coming up next for some of our Ferrari Challenge competitors. A very select few have been invited to go participate. I would be shocked if Lisa Clark's name wasn't amongst them.
I'm racking my brains. I'm convinced that Lisa is doing it. I'm convinced, but I know you will find this very hard to believe, but I have been wrong in the past.
Three orange cars are battling it out on the racetrack. It is Matt Dalton, Jan Bernier, and Frank Szczesniak, 1, 2, 3, with Jan Bernier leading the trio. He qualified very well today and is currently running in the 4th position. Szczesniak taking the 5th position away from Matt Dalton, who made it to the podium yesterday. It was a great drive by Matt, the driver out of New York City, who is representing Ferrari of Long Island.
Yeah, great drive indeed. So Cameron Root is leading this, but I tell you what, I've just been keeping an eye on the timing screen, and Cameron Root is being reeled in a little bit by David Veronin, because the gap is down to just half a second now.
We mentioned that just because you have a lead doesn't mean you're going to win the race, because leads do vary, and we saw that yesterday with Root and Veronin. So don't think that this one is said and done. Surreal Choxy, not having to start from the back of the pack from today's race, has maintained that 3rd position. He did do a great job yesterday of driving back to 4th, but it makes you wonder what would have happened if he'd started from a place more fitting of his championship lead coming into the weekend.
Szczesniak diving to the inside of Jan Bernier here. They are side by side. It is a drag race into the next turn. turn, and Szczesniak has got the speed. Look, and he goes through on Jan Bernier. We could see this being lined up, so it is a change for P4 in Coppa Shell, as Jan Bernier drops now to P5, and their confirmation of that switch of position that you can see on screen as Szczesniak then lined him up perfectly, and next in his target sights, albeit some way up the road, is going to be Cyril Choksi.
That was a great move by Szczesniak. Frank, who did get on the podium and get his first pole position at Homestead, hasn't been to the podium since and is looking for a bit of a rebound after a difficult weekend of Circuit of the Americas, 6th in yesterday's race, so he is on the right trajectory moving forward.
Something of a seesaw going on here in terms of the lap times between our P1 and P2 drivers in Coppa Shell at the moment. We're watching Cameron Root, who's P1. There is David Veronin, who is P2. And as you can look at the gap evolution between the two of them, and the seesaw analogy that I was saying, where it goes up and then down and up again, Cameron Root is, I would suggest, is in control of this. He is very much aware of the fact that David Veronin is trying to pounce, and he would like to do that. But sometimes, Shay, I'm sure you will agree with me, sometimes the better position to be in is P2, because you know what you've got to do. Your focus is completely, whereas Cameron Root, to a degree, he wants to be very, very fast and nail every apex and drive the perfect lap. He will have a weather eye on the rearview screen as well.
Yes, there is an advantage to being the hunter because, as you rightly say, it focuses your brain in a very different way, and it makes you more apt to hit every apex to try and get to the car ahead. But it's a bit like a dog with a mail truck. You want to be chasing, you don't necessarily want to catch, because then things tend to go out the window. So for David Veronin, the pinnacle of focus is now, if he closes in another half second, if he's a 10th behind, that's when Cameron Root has the advantage, because he has the track position.
Absolutely. As we've said so many times, all very well being as quick or indeed quicker, you've got to try and find a way by as well. So it's brilliant that we can give you this split screen shot, because we're riding on board with David Veronin. You can see every input that he's making. We can even see the dashboard and what gear he is in, and how that translates to how the car appears on track as well. Through the gearbox we go for P4 right now, taking quite a bit there into P5, into gear 5, gear 6 now, before heavy braking for this right-hander. Down a couple of shifts into 4th. I felt a little bit like a rally navigator then. So
it was a lot of exit curb for David Veronin in turn 5. It looked like it bashed us sitting alongside of him, giving him the rally notes, let alone the driver who was experiencing that for himself. They have pulled out a nice gap over Cyril Choksi.
I was going to say, in fairness, what's happening here is, David Veronin's pace is driving Cameron Root, and they are both getting up the road with an extraordinary pace, as diving to the inside there and going past the car of Jeffrey Nunberg.
That was yesterday's race winner, Lance Colley. He had an issue in qualifying.
Did you find out what was wrong with the car? Was something wrong with the car? Because it kind of stopped during that qualifying phase.
It did. It ground to a halt. It didn't hit anything. There was a lot of confusion around the car in the meantime, in between the race starting and, well, the qualifying ending and the race starting. But the good news is Lance Colley has his helmet on. He got in the car, he drove to the false grid, and now he's in the race, charging his way back up through the field. Currently sitting P4. All right, there's a bit of a gap ahead to Lisa Clark, who is closing in on Bruce Cleveland, who managed to get around her. But it's Lance Colley involved in this race once again. That's the best news we could ask for.
Absolutely. And Lance, of course, will be buoyed by the success he had yesterday. He's very self-deprecating, isn't he?
Yes.
He doesn't like being praised. But talking of praise, let's have a look and see what happens here as the 146 and 141 car go together there. Dana Goodwin and Jeff Nunberg absolutely side by side. And Jerry Walters just waiting to say, come on then, let me through on the inside here.
Oh, Jerry.
But that quickly becomes the outside.
Well,
wow.
She got the position away from Dana Goodwin.
Yes.
She very nearly had the position from Jeff Nunberg, too, who did not see her going in through turn 3. She backed out of it. Follow my leader through the S's a little bit, and she will have an opportunity to pounce. Not quite yet through turn 5, but when we get to 6, that is where Jerry Walters should have the advantage, because she'll be getting a little bit of a toe down this tiny bit of a straight.
Nothing better than a little bit of toe when you need it, and that could be what gives the advantage to Jerry Walters then. Jeff Nunberg there, you can see, trying to make that car really wide.
Over-under attempt there from Jerry Walters, but she is patient, and now, there we go. This is the toe effect that she will need. Keep your right foot planted, Jerry. Woman who calls Scottsdale, Arizona home now. and she knows that things are getting warm around the track. They're spicing up, but the good news is she doesn't have to look backwards. She can only look forward and go into full-on attack mode. Lisa Clark has gone into attack mode as well, setting the fastest lap of the Coppa Shell&AM class the last time around, but it is still Roger Monteforte with the lead. He is holding off Bruce Cleveland, who is closing in. It has to be said, Bruce doing a fantastic job to drive back up through the field.
Yes, you're absolutely right. A brilliant job being done there, and we follow the Coppa Shell&AM race at the moment. Bruce Cleveland currently running P2 for Ferrari Silicon Valley. Then running in P3 is Lisa Clark in the 127 car. Lisa doing another good job, and as Shay mentioned just a moment ago, driving a very, very fast lap indeed. But just closing in now on Lisa Clark a bit. And Lisa Clark for Ferrari Beverly Hills. Now, the thing is, the car behind her, there is an argument that says just let it go because it's in a different class. But, of course, the moment you do that, you've got another car ahead of you.
Well, the problem is the car that's behind her is identical to the car that's in front of her. Yeah, all of these cars are the same. I should say that. The only difference is the driver. But livery-wise, it is identical because it is the spare car to the car ahead of her. So if I lend you my car and then you happen to get between me and the person trying to take away my position, if you're not going to play tail gunner, I'm not going to lend you my car again. Let's be honest about that.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point made. So where are we? 18 minutes of this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race. So remaining Cameron Root now just extending the lead a little bit to 1.1 seconds between himself and Dave Veronin. And then it is Cyril Choksi running in P3 some distance back. Roger Monteforte, Bruce Cleveland and Lisa Clark P1, 2 and 3, as you can see in the Coppa Shell&AM race at the moment. It's as we are, and we are with them right now. And there you can see the gaps between Roger Monteforte and Bruce Cleveland. And I'll tell you what, Bruce is closing very, very rapidly. So Roger Monteforte will have to go from thinking about defending quite a lot, I would suggest, come the second part of this race. Lisa Clark trying to get back on terms with Bruce Cleveland, and Lisa doing a very good job in the 127 car in that podium position at the moment of P3. So Roger Monteforte then leading, and he's got a gap of, what is that, about 8/10, I suppose. Is that enough? Arguably not so. In the meantime, plenty of other battles going on throughout the pack of cars. Here we can see the inside line comes beckoning here.
Is that Frank Szczesniak attempting to make a pass again? No, I don't think it is. It's the 132 of Jan Bernier.
Coming back.
It's Matt Dalton. Matt Dalton is making an attempt, and he did back out of it at 10B. Thankfully, Matt Dalton realizing that the track just sort of disappeared on him there, and Jan Bernier not leaving him the space that he had requested, but then again, he was trying to make the pass. So it's all fair at this point in the weekend, but I was curious about the battle up front because it said the gap was 1.1 seconds. David Veronin was a lot less than that by dint of having set the fastest lap of the race.
Wow.
So Cameron Root now has a battle on his hands.
I'll tell you what, so too, in my opinion, does Roger Monteforte, because Bruce Cleveland is really lining him up now. Let's go on board and see how this plays out. So they're climbing up the hill here. Now, presumably, Bruce is trying to get... this is Dave Veronin, because we're back with this battle that is going on for the lead of the Coppa Shell race. Now, all of a sudden, David Veronin has really got the hurry up on Cameron Root. Forgive me, I thought we were on board with Coppa Shell&AM. We're on board with Coppa Shell, and this is side by side, and this is for track position and the race lead in Coppa Shell. And I have to say, racing room was left by Cameron Root. It was a brilliant move by David Veronin, who put the car just exactly where Cameron Root didn't want the car to go, and he's gone through.
That was bold, brave, brash, and I can't believe it worked for David Veronin, because that is a very tight line that he then would have had to employ going through 10A, and he did make it stick. He slowed it down enough, got it turned in, and then stayed ahead of Cameron Root, and now he's checking out.
Look at the pace that he's got relative to Cameron Root all of a sudden. But Shay, what confuses me is in the laps leading up to this, they'd been seesawing between each other.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Veronin it's like he's found his mojo, isn't it?
Well, and he said to us yesterday after the race that he didn't have a great grasp on this track after the beginning practice sessions, and now he definitely has a great grasp on the track, having won yesterday's race and gone to the front. Oh, a big push going through turn 6 there as he gets the car slowed down. Let's see, can he turn it in and make it stick for 7? Yes, and a good run out onto the back straight. But look at his rear view camera. He has Cameron Root with him, glued to him. This battle is not yet done.
I have a feeling that this is going to play out and give us some great entertainment over the remaining 14 and a half minutes we've got of this Coppa Shell race, as Cameron Root right now, if he was welded to the back of the 488 Challenge Evo of David Veronin, he could not be any closer. Brilliant racing between these two drivers. David Veronin,
goodness.
and as they run through turn number 12 now, where you hold on to that car for all it's worth. Here comes Cameron Root now. Overtaking is at a premium, I think it's fair to say, on this track.
It is, but guess what's going to assist with that? Lapped traffic, and that's what they have ahead of them.
Indeed.
Will this be an opportunity for Cameron Root to reclaim the lead as they catch up to Luis Peruzquia and Neil Langberg? By the looks of it, are very much in the clutches. They're catching them in the S's. That is the worst possible spot to try and catch slower traffic, and this is going to open the door once again for Cameron Root.
Oh my goodness me, I'm tempted to, well, fair play, and this
David
is what
Williams.
I love. Very, very good job done there by David Williams. You try and get the car out of the way, don't you? But actually, you can't make your car disappear, Shay. It's on track. This is great driving from both of them in terms of giving them racing room and allowing them to come through. However, of course, it does vent an opportunity perhaps for David Williams here as well.
It does.
Oh no, oh no, oh no.
And off in turn one, Lisa Clark, and is that Robert McWilliams or
No.
is that Bruce Cleveland? It is car number 158. That is Bruce Cleveland. So the battle for second in the Shell&AM category has now changed. Let's see what happened as Lisa Clark is behind by quite a bit. And it was a diving attempt for the lead on Monteforte, and it didn't work. And Lisa Clark, just going off in evasive action, winds up spinning in the grass.
That's really unfortunate because,
that's terrible.
you know, she had to go that way to avoid contact. She got going again, but oh my goodness me. What a real shame that is. And, well, there you can see Lisa has managed to get the car going, pointing in the right direction again. But, of course, that's changed the face of the Shell&AM race, rather.
I think she's down in 10th place now.
Yeah, what a
Dave,
shame.
that's a terrible turn of things, and that was no fault of her own.
No.
That was just an overly optimistic move from Bruce Cleveland to look down the inside of the race leader, Roger Monteforte, going into turn one. And is Roger's car okay? As he is still continuing, but there might have been contact between he and Cleveland on the right side of his car. It looks like Monteforte is okay and able to continue as he does not dive into the pit lane. Car 101 continuing to lead for the Shell&AM class. But now, who's going to come through in second? Is it going to be yesterday's race winner, Lance Colley?
Amazingly.
Indeed it is. In third, Jeff Nunberg for Ferrari of Central New Jersey. And in fourth place is now Bubbles, Jerry Walters, car number 188.
You cannot write the script, can you?
No.
And sometimes the story appears to be absolutely convoluted, but the way things happen, and oh goodness, Jerry Walters, who you were just mentioning, I can see in the gravel there, and that car is beached in the gravel. That's very, very unfortunate. Let's take a look at what happened to that in the replay here.
She got a tap. That was Dana Goodwin in car number 146 was the other one involved. So we were just talking about the cars up into fourth and fifth. Is that going to be a full course yellow or a local yellow? Can she get it moved?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And I think, you know, you're carrying so much speed, aren't you, going into that turn that inevitably, in my opinion, I mean, thankfully I'm not a race controller, would never want to be, but...
The difficulty is also, Dave, that the cameras don't really show just how slanted the grass and the gravel are in that area.
Fair point.
It rained last night, lightly, thankfully, so it shouldn't be completely slick. She should be able to get some traction, but I think with that amount of gravel, we will need some outside assistance to get her back out. So now the onus is on Cameron Root. Make the pass while you can. With 10.5 minutes to go in this race, it's definitely not done, and it shouldn't take that long to get the cars back onto the hard standing and able to drive away.
Well, we will see. I am convinced that that is going to have to have recovery, and yes, we have got a full course yellow, and that, as we perhaps both predicted, it's a very unfortunate turn of events, isn't it? There's been some drama in this race, that's for sure, but very, very unfortunate. And you know, from our point of view, as race fans, we like to see action on track, don't we? And it does happen from time to time.
I prefer to see clean action.
I know,
Yes.
I know.
Yes. We've got Lance Colley up into second. He'll be thrilled with this caution, though. An opportunity to catch back up to Roger Monteforte. In third, Jeff Nunberg. Fourth is now Darren Bernstein. And in fifth, Steve Check, who had a rough start to the race after taking the green flag at the back of the pack. Neil Langberg is in sixth. And Lisa Clark will actually benefit from this yellow because this will group everyone together. This will give her an opportunity to try and get back ahead of some of the cars that she was ahead before the yellow came out. Unfortunately for Lisa, having to drive off the track and then becoming stuck momentarily where the cars that are currently stuck are at that same portion of the track. David Veronin will not be happy with this yellow. This will give the opportunity to Cameron Root once again when we go back to green. But Cyril Choksi will be thanking his lucky stars because for the Ferrari of Denver driver, this is a bit of new life. Lisa Clark now realizing, all right, so Neil Langberg is ahead. Check. I will have to pass him to try and get back up to the front of the field and further extend the championship lead in the Coppa Shell&AM class. But the Coppa Shell&AM class lead is in the hands of Roger Monteforte, man who started racing 3 weekends ago and now finds himself potentially taking home the first place trophy for the first time. He'll need to hold off Lance Colley, man who knows how to win, having done it here yesterday for Ferrari of Atlanta. No better place to get it done than on the home circuit of your team. Lance looking to try and make it a perfect weekend sweep. And then Jeff Nunberg will be looking for another trophy, the Ferrari of Central New Jersey driver who did manage to get a second place at Circuit of the Americas in the second race that weekend. Now sitting in third and thinking, more hardware would be nice. My family would appreciate that. So it looks like it could go very well for 3 of these Shell&AM drivers, but the possibility is there for variety as well, as we have 7.5 minutes to go. Under full course caution for race number 6 of the season, 2 of the weekend here from Road Atlanta.
Wow, what a weekend we are having here in Road Atlanta, and the cars then behind and in control of that full course yellow with the safety car leading the cars away then at the moment. What have we got, Mayor? 7 minutes remain.
Oh, shoot, I'm going to have to scramble over to the podium here soon.
Yes, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I'll stay for another couple minutes. I just completely forgotten. I've gotten so swept up in all the racing action we've had. This has been a very, very good race.
It's been an intense couple of races today, and intense for all the right reasons. I'm sorry. I'm just, as we look at the Richard Mille safety car leading these cars around, the battle between David Veronin and Cameron Root. And of course, what were we saying earlier on? I don't know whether it was today or even whether it was yesterday, that sometimes in motor racing, you just don't know what's going to happen. A big beneficiary, of course, of not knowing what is going to happen, but being able to take your chances and do some overtaking. Lance Colley is...
He's, the day started about as badly as it could have for Lance, with an issue in the car that you don't know what it is, and then the team doesn't know what it is. It doesn't get, but the car still had 4 wheels. It still rolled. It still drove in the proper direction. And right now, for Lance Colley, he's going, you know what? I think I'm okay.
Yeah, he'll take this, won't he? And once again, if I dare say it, he won't take any praise for it. No. He is, it's all down to the team. It's all down to Nancy. It's all down to everybody else. Lance, you have to pedal the car, and you do a good job of doing that.
Well, we'll give full credit to Nancy because we love Nancy. Yes. And hello, Nancy, who's listening in and watching in the truck, I'm sure, with the iPad, giving the onboard footage directly from her husband's car. And how wonderful is that system that we have employed in the Ferrari Challenge, that we can allow the coaches to watch and get the live data from every single car, be able to tell their drivers, hey, don't stick it in there, and maybe they back out. It's a beautiful way of teaching, and it's something we're privileged to have in this series.
And what's also fascinating and really something that is worthy of praise is the fact that you and I have seen so many drivers that have come into the Ferrari Challenge with little to zero proper race experience and turn into being remarkable racing drivers.
Yeah. It's true. And you just think about people coming into this championship, getting to drive these beautiful, extreme race cars at circuits all around the globe. I mean, you get to see them all around the world, but in North America and the variety of the calendar year on year. Yes, we started out in Miami. We went to Austin for Circuit of the Americas. We've come here to Road Atlanta. We go to Sonoma. We go to Road America. We go to Montreal. Some of our drivers get to go to Le Mans. It's just a phenomenal experience.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It is, and you know, all the drivers are really appreciative of that, and it's an immersive weekend.
Yeah.
Of course, it's all about racing, but it is all about the ambiance as well.
But also, I think it's all about a love of Ferrari.
Yeah, of course.
Which we all have.
That passion has got to be there, and well, we can see the recovery team there. The flatbed of the truck, we could see from our drone camera, the car was being winched up onto the flatbed. There might still have been one more car there as Shay takes her leave and heads down to the pit lane for us. I am concerned that with only 3 3/4 minutes left, that we might have to finish this race on a full course yellow, but we will see. I just think the recovery operation is ongoing, and I think there is still so much to be done in the space of about 3.5 minutes that it might be tricky to get this race back running again once the car is loaded. It then has to be taken back to the paddock as well. Not sure, but we will see. The order is David Veronin, Cameron Root, Surreal Choxy for Coppa Shell. For Coppa Shell&AM, it's Roger Monteforte, Lance Corley, Jeff Nunberg. They are the top three in Coppa Shell&AM of Ferrari Challenge. So, yeah, we will see. Just under 3 minutes, and we run to time in the Ferrari Challenge as we look at the Neil Langberg car then for Ferrari South Bay, who finished the race P9 yesterday. Great improvement up to P6 for today's race if everything finishes the way it is at the moment. And I rather suspect that we may finish this race behind the safety car. Cameron Root, in anticipation of going racing once again, is trying to keep some temperature into those tyres. You can see him vigorously weaving from side to side, and he will be hoping that we will go back to racing again, because of course it will give him an opportunity to try and get back on David Veronin and try and take the lead of the race away. From our studio position, I can see that the Jerry Walters car is being hauled out now. It is on the back of a truck, and we've got 2 minutes remaining. Perhaps we would get a lap in. It depends where that truck is, or whether the other car is still in the gravel there or not. I can't quite see from our studio position. You can see there David Veronin is certainly champing at the bit to get going again. Now, if we stay with this on board, we might be able to see a bit more of how the recovery operation is going. But yes, as I predicted, we start the final lap, and the race is going to finish behind the safety car, which is never how you want to finish the race, but safety is of paramount importance. What a weekend it is going to have been for David Veronin. 2 wins here at Road Atlanta. Cameron Root taking P2. It will be Surreal Choxy that takes P3. And for Coppa Shell&AM, it's going to be Roger Monteforte, now the 101 car, finishing P1. It'll be P2, a remarkable P2 for Lance Corley. What a weekend he's had, a relatively home gig relative for his team, with a P1 and a P2, and Jeff Nunberg with a very good P3. As well, so that's the way it will look, because we are on the final lap of this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race from Road Atlanta. Unfortunately, finishing behind the safety car with a full course yellow, brought about by cars being off the track. And of course, safety has to come absolutely first, and therefore the recovery operation, whilst the team who have worked valiantly across the course of the weekend, working as hard as they can to try and get those cars removed, just time was against them, and never going to be able to get this race back underway again, unfortunately. So that's the way it is. And the cars then, what will happen, in my opinion, is the Richard Mills safety car, if it's safe to do so, will peel off into the pit lane and at least allow the drivers to take the checkered flag without the safety car being there. But that will really rather depend on what has happened with that recovery operation and whether there is still any recovery going on. We will see. So the Richard Mills safety car leading these cars then of David Veronin, Cameron Root and Cyril Choksey, the 1, 2, 3. The red car you can see in the middle there is actually one of the back marking cars and doesn't feature in the top 3 of the Coppa Shell drivers that you can see out there on track. And yeah, that's the way it looks at the moment. So yeah, not the way we would like necessarily a race to finish, but there's Roger Monteforte, who will go to the top step of the podium for the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell&AM drivers, taking a win. And he'll be very happy about doing that, though doubtless he would have preferred to do it actually on the track. And, well, the recovery operation's still ongoing, so the car's then having to take the checkered flag from being behind the Richard Mills safety car. So that is a safety precaution, of course. So well done to all the drivers. Coppa Shell race then finishing behind the safety car for the allowance of the recovery of the drivers as necessary. So there we have it. The drivers will be down there. Of course, we will have the podiums to come, of course, for all the classes that have been racing today. Very much looking forward to that and the celebrations of the drivers that will go on the podium. It's always a big event. It's something of a small festival that goes on with everyone down there wanting to be part of that celebration of the successes and otherwise. And what's nice about the camaraderie within the paddock is all the other drivers, whether they're on the podium or not, they'll be down there to salute their peers. And Roger Monteforte is going to be on the top step of the Coppa Shell&AM podium. David Veronin, of course, will be on the top step of the Coppa Shell podium. And there is David Veronin, then the winner, 2 out of 2 this weekend for Foreign Cars Italia. What a weekend he has had. Very good indeed. And we ride on board with David Veronin then as the cars are making their way back to the Parc Fermé area. And then, of course, we will bring you the results in full, the confirmed classification, and indeed the points chart as it will be once all the points have been allocated here. Then confirmation of the result. David Veronin taking the win from Cameron Root and Cyril Choksey, P2 and P3. Frank Szczesniak, P4. Jan Bernier, good result, P5. Matt Dalton, P6. Ray Acosta, P7. Eric Marston, P8. Thor Haugen, P9. And Michael Luley then taking a P10 ahead of Robert McWilliams. When it comes to the AM drivers, it's Roger Monteforte ahead of Lance Corley and Jeffrey Nunberg. They're the podium places. Then it's Darren Bernstein, Steve Check, Neil Lamberg, Lisa Clark, Bruce Cleveland and David Williams ahead of Louis Perescoya, and still classified Jerry Waters and Dana Goodwin. And there we are. That's the way it looks. Confirmed results and the classification then. And absolute pinpoint accuracy and very quick with that classification, as well as the cars are making their way really rather slowly, of course, because they are behind the Richard Mills safety car back to the Parc Fermé area here at Road Atlanta. From here, some of the drivers will be heading to the 24-hour race at Le Mans, where the Ferrari Challenge is supporting that endurance race. And some of the drivers who are not doing that will, of course, be focusing on Montreal and being part of the Canadian Grand Prix weekend in Montreal. Ferrari Challenge will be part of that. So there is our winner, David Veronin for Foreign Cars Italia. 2 out of 2 this weekend. Double bubble for that young man, and was enjoying some time with his family yesterday, and he will be absolutely chuffed to bits. Good P2 for Cameron Root, who banked some points, and very important points, and Cyril Choksey then P3. And those are the drivers that you'll be seeing on the podium from the Shell category. From the Shell&AM category, it's going to be Roger Monteforte, Lance Corley and Jeff Nunberg. So the car is parked up then, the 177 machine of David Veronin. And he'll be undoing the belts right now and focusing on getting out of the car as quickly as he can so that he can begin the celebrations. He's got a lot of support here at Road Atlanta this weekend. And there, the belt is undone and straps off. radio receiver out of the crash helmet. He climbs out of the 488 Challenge Evo. And waiting to congratulate him from Ferrari Challenge is head of Ferrari Challenge here in North America, Louis Colmash, who makes a handshake to our race winner. And crash helmet and hands device off. Here comes the balaclava as well. And here comes Matt Dusenbury to offer his congratulations to our race winner. And there, David Veronin, very, very happy. And look at this, the camaraderie, as I say, within the racing environment here is remarkable. It's absolutely lovely to see. And, well, the family are standing by to say well done. And there you can see, to be fair, the Veronin family is a big family and lots of support. And he has done a very, very good job this weekend. And 2 wins. Absolutely fantastic. Should shut up and listen in, shouldn't I? To hear what is being said there. But, yeah, well done to David Veronin. Well done also to Roger Monteforte, of course, our Coppa Shell&AM winner. Both of those drivers having done a remarkable job in very, very nice temperatures here. Nice temperatures for us to enjoy. Not so good if you're inside the 488 Challenge Evo car, that's for sure. My goodness me, it will be hot. So David Veronin then has done it again, 2 out of 2, and he's with Shay.
Yeah, David, weekend sweep for you. You said here we are again. Did it feel a little bit harder today?
Well, it was because they surprised me and put all this extra pressure on me, which they're the reason why I didn't qualify first, because they showed up right last minute. That's a joke, by the way. But no, the race was tough. I mean, I feel like it's hard. It's hard that I have to race against him all the time because he's so good, you know, and it's just like he's so fast. I mean, more props to him, really. Like, he knows what he's doing, but thank God I had a good exit. I knew that I was waiting for that perfect opportunity, and it came in turn 7, where I just went wide, stop and go, had a good lunch on him, and that's it. That's all I needed.
2 times a winner in Ferrari Challenge. Congrats.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, guys.
Listen to the support and the pride of the family there who are supporting David, and that's wonderful to see. Let's take a look at the championship points then, as they are at the conclusion of race 2. Cameron Root then on 75 points. Merely 18 now ahead of David Veronin, who has gone ahead of Cyril Choksi. He's up 1 place, and it's just a point between David Veronin and Cyril Choksi, and then Gray Fowler, Frank Szczesniak, Jan Bernier, Matt Dalton, John Visca, Ray Acosta, and Eric Marston. The top 10 in the Coppa Shell Drivers' Championship points, with Michael Luley and Nathan Schwegard then P11 and P12. So Cameron Root leaves Road Atlanta still with the championship lead. Of course, he's banked very, very good points for P2. There is no doubt about it. Of course, he would like to have taken the race win, but it wasn't to be. Nonetheless, he has maxed his haul of points in so far as he can by getting the next best position, which is P2. So good to hear from David Veronin and all the family there in support of his racing this weekend and every weekend, of course. And behind every racing driver, there's not only a team of engineers with the team, but of course the families that are supportive of the drivers as well, and all that is very, very important. And all part of this wonderful Ferrari Challenge family that we're so privileged to bring you the action from Ferrari Challenge North America. And Roger Monteforte then takes the win in Coppa Shell&AM, and I think he is with right now.
Well, Roger Monteforte, you keep saying, I won. Can you believe it? You won a Ferrari Challenge race.
Believe it. This is surreal. It's a dream come true. Unbelievable. Just amazing. I'm almost speechless, and that rarely happens. So.
Well, you kind of checked out on the competition there.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
How hard were you having to push?
Oh, I was pushing. You know, we were like low 128s. So we were, late in the race, and then I think there was a car that made a move on me on the inside of 1 early, and then we made some contact, and luckily I was able to hold it together, and then that was it. And then from there, smooth sailing, and then we caught the yellow. I saw Lance creeping, and he started back, I think, in 9th or 10th. So I saw him right behind me, and I said, okay, if we get a restart here, this is going to be a good battle. But we never got it. But I'm happy to take the win.
Congratulations on your first win, and sorry that there's a bit of a door ding on your car.
No worries. Thank you, guys. Awesome.
Well done to Roger Monteforte. They're also being congratulated by Louis Colmash, and brilliant stuff. And they're the family to offer their congratulations to Roger Monteforte as well. There we have it. Some fantastic racing this afternoon. And let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship points now for Coppa, Shell, and Lisa Clark still leading with a 6-point margin over Dan Cornish, who's missing this weekend. Lance Corley is P3 in the points. Then it's Darren Bernstein, Louis Perescoya, Jeffrey Nunberg, Roger Monteforte, Bruce Cleveland, Dana Goodwin, Anthony DiCarlo is P10 in the Drivers' Championship points, ahead of Jerry Walters, Steve Check, Neil Langberg, David Williams, and James Camp. There we have it. Some excellent racing across the course of this race weekend from the Ferrari Challenge North America. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, our next race is to come Montreal, but the podium ceremony is also going to be happening here as well. But from me and from Shay, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.